Hello there, and many thanks for sharing your time with us on People, Politics, and Power. I am Imonia Marere. Last week, 7 opposition political parties in Nigeria announced their decision to form a coalition. According to them, it is to guarantee a stronger democracy. The political parties involved include the Social Democratic Party, SDP, People's Democratic Party, PDP, New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, which is, of course, enmeshed in internal crisis of confidence and leadership. The others are African Democratic Congress, the ADC, Allied People's Movement, APM, Young Progressives Party, YPP, and Labour Zenith Party, ZLP. The coalition will for now go by the name of Coalition of Concerned Political Parties in Nigeria. The national chairman of the SDP, Alhaji Shehu Gaban, who announced the formation of the coalition, said it is to keep a tab on the federal government and ensure that it gives Nigerians the needed development, starting with the 2024 budget. Gaban said the forum is open to other political parties who may want to join forces with it. But news of the coalition had hardly sunk in when the PDP, which was represented by its acting national secretary, Setonji Kashodo, disowned its membership and dissociated the party from the coalition. He said it has not entered into any discussion to that effect with any opposition parties. So, what was its national secretary doing at the meeting with the other 6 political parties? The cracks appear to widen with the faction of the NNPP disowning the coalition. Even the SDP, that is the arrowhead of the coalition, is facing internal dissent from within its ranks, as a group in the party says it is not forming any conspiracy to work against the Tinubu government, but committed to engagement with the administration. The group hinted at what he described as the existence of a substantial conspiracy by influential opposition figures, some private sector entities, trade unions, and civil society organizations to turn public opinion against the Tinubu government and potentially lead to its undemocratic removal. Could this be the real objective of the coalition? If not, what purpose is the coalition? Given the diverse and disparate backgrounds and, of course, the ideological leanings of the parties in the coalition, how potent can such a relationship be? How does he hope to weld together the varied and divergent interests of the partners? How does he hope to sway other parties to join its ranks, given that some leading opposition parties have decided to go it alone? A coalition, according to its dictionary meaning, is a temporary alliance for combined action. It is formed by 2 or more groups or political parties to temporarily work together to achieve a common goal. Although the terms coalition and alliance are used interchangeably, they are different in structure. Whereas a coalition involves a long-term relationship among its members with formalized structures, alliance, on the other hand, involves a shorter-term relationship and it focuses on specific objective. Which one of them, coalition or alliance, have the political parties committed themselves to? How do they want to proceed with the relationship amidst the discordant voices? Right? We are joined in this studio by the convener of the coalition and national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Alhaji Shehu Gaban. Thank you so much.
A great pleasure. Thank you very much.
And also joining us is another member of the coalition, Oke Nwosu, who is the the national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, my
joining
friend.
us.
Thank you.
All right, we will delve into our discussion right after now. Stay with us.
Dream. The Nigeria we need is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria, which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. Right here in the studio, we have the national chairman of the SDP, Alhaji Shehu Gaban, and the national chairman of the NDC, okay, Nwosu.
ADC.
ADC, that's right. ADC, okay, Nwosu. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Great pleasure, thank you.
Right. So let's begin this way.
Yes.
Why was it necessary to form a coalition?
It is absolutely necessary. You have defined what coalition is all about. It's a voluntary decision by political parties, not under any cohesion whatsoever. But we decided to look at the national interest. The fields are vast. We look at the national security architecture of the country. We look at the subsidy removal, stroke weaponization of poverty. We look at the judicial system, what is going on that is affecting the stability of the country and democracy. We look at the issue of the borrowing of the system. We look at the issue of the devaluation of our currency. We look at the issue of an opinion being generated that the government is trying to foster a one-party system in the country. We look at the issue of education, health, and then, of course, in the health sector, it is very concerned because in all the states of the Federation, our nurses and doctors are leaving Nigeria. In Kano of recent, what we saw about 162 doctors left Kano states. The statistics are very scary in Lagos and other places. People are running out of the country. So we are facing a very serious manpower issue when it comes to the health sector. Now, like I said, it is the collection of the willing. We agreed to extray the national issues patriotically. There is no any intent of retrogressive in terms of our decision, our analysis. And we said that these analysis will be forwarded to the government to look at them, to examine them, so that we can all move this country forward. It wasn't because the coalition intended to antagonize the APC government. There was nothing like that. And even in the press conference, the media, some of the pressmen asked such questions. We dispelled it immediately. And regarding some of the opposition voices you mentioned, they are baseless, absolutely baseless, because nobody was forced to be part of that meeting. It was a meeting of the willings. And like you mentioned in the SDP, the individual you are talking about had been expelled in SDP 3 years ago. You know, there are part of them who went to court, struck out their case. So it's a complete nuisance. He's in APC, he's a member of the APC. So we don't bother about, you know, elevating non-entities who are seeking for relevance. But SDP at its full structure, we convened the meeting. The meeting took place at SDP Secretariat. Everybody is involved. It is not about individualism. It's not about one-party affair. It's about collectivism of Nigeria. How do we move forward? For instance, we talk about the subsidy removal. The reasons the government have given behind removing subsidy, it will enhance our economic viability. It will increase the purchasing power of Nigerians. It will create job, industries, and so on and so forth. And then the statistics that have been generated so far speak otherwise. And we are asking, then why did they remove the subsidy? And we also ask so many questions. Who are those who benefited from the subsidy payment? There's nothing that has been generated. And then look at the level of the poverty it has generated. In fact, according to statistics, about 60% of car owners have dropped their cars. They can't move around. If you move around Abuja, you find it very scanty. So there's a threat that the nation is facing. As political leaders whose signature authority produced from the president to the councillor, we have a duty to advise the government on what to do. It's not offensive, it's not fighting. Like I said, we extract national issues that is affecting everybody, including you sitting here. The journalists, we all go to the same market, we suffer the same situation, we suffer insecurity. So these are issues we discuss. And of course, we say we'll continue to discuss this, and by the time we develop all this thing together, we'll also pass it to the government. The issue of the budget, we say we advise the National Assembly, look into the budget, tinker with this budget. Year in, year out, our national budget have been elitist-based, theoretically based. We say, look, convert this budget into a practical, intentional, operational budget so that it will affect the life of the people. You should develop skill acquisition program, funded skill acquisition program in the budget. If you travel around the world, so immediately you land at the airport, you see so many small businesses going on that stimulate the economy of the country. I would say this is what the country should focus on right now, because the level of unemployment is unprecedented. Nobody can generate the statistics in Nigeria for now. And then, as you are sitting here in the studio, most times you look for electrical engineers when you have issues. You hardly get a professional one. You get quacks. The government destroy your system. Why can't the federal government budget so much money to train, even if it is 2 million electrical engineers that will serve the country, that will generate revenue, and you can export manpower? These are basic ingredients a nation needs to stabilize economically and otherwise. These are issues we have discussed. But you know, sentiments and emotions, and those who feel that why should we start it? They're supposed to have started it, they couldn't start it. We cannot stay idle simply because some people believe they are the one to push the project. We are co-owners of Nigeria. Nobody have more share than me and you in this country. We have equal share of Nigeria. And we have every right and liberty to contribute our quota to the development and stability of Nigeria. There is no any decent Nigeria that will be part of anything that will destabilize Nigeria or destabilize democracy. By the way, I'm among those who fought for the restoration of democracy in 1999. So I would never be in any meeting or association that would destabilize Nigeria. Never, 0%. Okay. But anything that will add value to this government, we will advise the government. It's left for them to take it. It's left for them to throw it to the dustbin. That's what we are saying.
All right, we'll come back to some of those issues later. But Mr. Onwusu, let's look at the timing of this coalition. Just about 9 months after the presidential and the general elections in Nigeria. Some will say it's too early in the day. Some will say usually the normal thing is that parties come together when it is almost near another election cycle. So what informed the timing?
Okay, I want to appreciate you. What informed the timing? We wish we had even started earlier. Because if we had started earlier, you know what will happen? The rush, even before the government was sworn in, if we had started, the rush to increase fuel, a product that even the smallest person in the country benefits from, by 400% will not have taken place. And that 400% is causing the big problem that the government cannot even now contain. They can't contain it. It's affecting, just as he said, if you check the statistics of business that has gone down because of that policy, it will baffle everybody. If you check the startups that cannot start anymore because their plans have been shattered, increasing a basic product that everybody depends on by 400% doesn't make any sense. And unfortunately, people around Mr. President don't have the voice to say, come, let us look at this air policy and look at it well. It behoves us, the opposition, the patriotic ones, to come out. So to come out and say, Mr. President, look at this. This is not good. If we don't come out now, more mistakes will be made. The other mistake, apart from the 400% increase, just like that, the other mistake, taking 1,000 and something Nigerians to Dubai for COP23, another mistake. So our coming in now is timely. Otherwise, more and more mistakes will be made, and Nigerians will be suffering. Some of us, almost all of us here have different identities. I have the identity as a business leader, I have the identity as a father, I I have the identity as a political party leader, a business person. So I hear from multiple sources. I'm a player in the business industry, and I know what the policy of government has done to the business. And I believe that AIT and other media organizations, you can see it time and time again what has happened. We will have come in much earlier. If we had come up about 3, 4, 5 months ago, we wouldn't think that governance is by, we wouldn't have allowed the government to degenerate into palliative governance. When you use, as if we are under a war situation, or we are hit by some natural tragedies, whether we had tsunami anytime, and so on. Why have we all of a sudden adopted a palliative as a way to lead? Instead of using those resources for skill acquisition, as the Honorable Chairman just pointed out. Skill acquisition. Empower the people. Stop giving them palliative. Nigerians are ready to work. Nigerians everywhere are ready to work. We are going to continue saying this. Some people will go out there to discredit us, but it's okay. What we are doing is a national duty. And as he pointed out again, some of us were in the trenches from 1980-something, then down to 1991, when we had the first election that was eventually was annulled in 1993. We know the difficulties we went through. Some of our leaders, i.e. General Shehu Yaradua, lost his life in the process. A lot more have gone. So some of us that are still awake and alive and active, we must speak out. And that is why we're speaking out. People may do anything to discredit us wherever we are, from wherever prism they're coming from, but filter the situation today in Nigeria. Nigeria is not good, and they require all patriots to come out and speak. And that's why we have the coalition. The coalition is not to bring down anybody. Rather, the coalition, we stand for a cause, and the cause is the cause of a better Nigerian nation.
There are 18 registered political parties in Nigeria. I know that Alhaji Gaban has said that this coalition is a voluntary exercise. Yes. I'm just wondering why only 7 of you started it off.
Only 7 were present on that day. We have about 11 who has indicated interest. And then,
who are the others? And
they have indicated interest. Now, with people, some people being mischievous, we will call another meeting very soon. When we call another meeting, I believe we may have more than 13 political parties. They will speak for themselves. It's better now when we bring people, they speak for themselves. We know that they've keyed in and so on. And not just political parties. A lot of other patriotic groups want to join. And what are we doing? We have to
groups that are not political parties.
Yes. They want to be part of it.
I thought that this was a political coalition.
It's a political coalition. I mean...
or a coalition of political parties.
Yes, a coalition of political parties, but individuals who are not in political parties now may want to join that coalition of political parties because it may eventually coalesce into something that they will be proud to be part of. The important thing is that they've had our message and they've been calling. They've had the message, they've been calling. The message is save Nigeria. The message is, Mr. President, we have security challenges, and it appears that even within the security architecture, as you said, you go to you see what happened in Kaduna recently, and so on, where the 3 arms of the armed forces seem to not to be coordinated in their communication, and because of that, over 100 individuals, Nigerians, lost their life. It's not right. We need to get something done, and the other thing that affects why coalitions must continue forming, once people enter the villa, some gatekeepers will want to seize them. And these are not patriotic politicians, but maybe their own interest is different. Make money, make a business. They seize Mr. President. I think
maybe if you enter there someday, you might be may also be seized.
No.
Individuals.
No. Our ethical compass is clear. Our ethical compass is clear. A transformational party lays out the framework before it gets into power.
But that's what every politician says until he gets into power. But Alhaji Kabam, let me come to you and ask you what you consider to be the overarching objective of this coalition. I ask that against the backdrop of the fact that you call it interchangeably as a coalition and an alliance. Which is which? Is it a short-term project, or you are going for the long haul?
Well, you know, the problem of elites, they generate a lot of semantics around issues, even if the issues are straight. What we are saying here is that we have identified cardinal areas that are affecting the smooth running of Nigeria as a nation. We highlighted all of them, and we agreed that we should pursue that course to add value to the government, not to generate crisis to the government. If we want, some of us are product of gods, we can go on full-scale opposition. But it's going to be dangerous for the country, apart from the insecurity, the poverty, the kidnappings, the failure of the economy. It's not the fault of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He inherited a collapsed system. So he's struggling to be on his feet. He inherited a collapsed system completely. And if you want to add value to him, add value through facts that is on ground, not imaginations. Those who doesn't like it believe that they will use what we have done to generate sympathy or seek for attention of the government, that they are more supporting the government than us. It is the coalition of this party that ensure democracy stand on the day of the election. It's the coalition of this party that said those who disagree should go to court. We did not compare to say, no, it cannot work. So we stood to conquer and ensure that there's a democracy in place. There's no anarchy. Anarchy have not taken place. So why would somebody have issues with parties that stood and ensure that the process of INEC was completed, result was announced, and we said those who disagree go to court. When we challenged it, we addressed the first press conference as SDP. We said, look, our interest is democracy. We fought for democracy. My boss went to prison, let Alhaji Abubakar Rimi. We were all chased around. Democracy was restored. And we'll sit down, remain aloof, nonchalant. Issues are going on. The country is going down. The purchasing power have gone to close to 0%, virtually everywhere. Everywhere is scanty. If you are traveling on the highway, you will assume something is wrong. You can't see vehicles moving. So these are the issues we are drawing the attention of the government. If the government have a good, they should intensify it. They should add more volume to what is going on. So this is not a coalition to oppose or humiliate or disrespect the president. No. We all understand where the president is coming from. We understand where he took power from, what was on ground. And part of what we suggested to the government, they are acting on them. We suggested earlier on that, look, you have to prop the CBN. We pushed that heavily. We also told the president, so long as you do not dismantle NNPC, you are not going anywhere. There are cartels that are running this government, siphoning the resources of this country, less than 1% of 1% of Nigerians. And we told them, go into this. The president said, I'll step on toes. Stepping on toes means we investigate those who feel they are above board. They are above the law. They cannot be arrested. Yes, they are taking away the resources of the people. If you go to the villages, you can't see government. If you go to the local government, you cannot see government. Local governments are not functioning. Councillors are dead. And then all is normal. We believe we are okay. The country is doing well. Happily enough, the president, in his budget submission, one of the things he said, look, the environment is very challenging, domestically and internationally, which means they have established the problem. What is the problem? You need to develop a conducive environment. If you want internal investors to invest their money, if you want foreign investors to come and invest, you must guarantee them the environments must invite them. It must be inviting environment. And the environment will develop mechanisms to protect the investors that are coming. Those are the indices anywhere in the world.
Once government fails to provide that, forget about any investment anywhere. You don't have energy. The energy is dropping on a daily basis. In Maitama, I've been living there for almost 30 years. In the last 2 years, we have shortages of water. We buy water. We never had it before. I'm telling you this, go and find out. And look at the level of insecurity all over Abuja. The police the police release locations in Abuja where you should be very careful about if you are going around those areas. So these are facts we are talking about. We did not say, no, Mr. President, you are bad, go. Nobody, abuse or insult the personality of the president. But we say the system have deficits. Those deficits need to be looked into holistically, patriotically, for the country to move on. No decent Nigerians will sit down and allow this kind of things to continue without adding value to the government. It's left for the government to say thank you for your value added. And we said this association, APC, is free to join. It's about value added. It's not about particularly to hunt APC and otherwise. No, they are open to a conversation, robust discussion. How do we enhance economic viability, political stability, reconciliation? Because you need to reconcile the country. You need to create that ambience. Just what let President Yar'Adua try to do. That is the kind of leadership the country is looking forward to. Harmonize the whole country. Like political parties, the president needs to embrace the political parties. They have value to add. Parties are the one that brought him into power. I mentioned before, in the absence of a chairman, signature, and secretary, nobody would have emerged as a president or a councillor in Nigeria. It is the signature of a chairman and secretary to INEC that define party is sponsoring a particular candidate. For that reason, we are a major stakeholders in determining and adding value how government is being run. Remaining aloof, nonchalant attitude is the most unpatriotic thing anybody can do in Nigeria, given the situation of Nigeria today. If you watch a video that I saw in Zamfara, I wept, where it was a TV program. Somebody was giving a testimony how this bandit goes into family to kidnap wives, children, and take them to bush to be raping them on the daylight. You have seen a video where the bandit brandishing AK-47 or motorbikes driving everywhere. And then, above all, you have the service chiefs. These service chiefs have sub-commanders in the states. And the major crime will take place in the states. Commissioner of Police will be there. Director SSS, other security apparatus will be there. Nothing tangible will be done to arrest the culprits. And we think we are not in an anarchy situation. We believe we are normal.
Alhaji, if the aim of the coalition is to add value to governance, as you say, some people would argue that you have representatives at various levels of government, either at state level or at the federal level, particularly in the National Assembly. So what would be the need for a coalition such as this when you have representatives in the Senate and in the House of Representatives?
I think if you look at the multi-party system that we adopted as a nation, it gives party the leverage to discuss issues. Apart from the elected members are to deal with legislative issues. To make sure the budget are solid, it reflects the yearnings and the wishes of their various constituencies that they represent. Parties are drivers, are administrators. They will sit down and evaluate situation and reach out to the government. During Shagari regime, the most opposition leader in Shagari regime was late Alhaji Abubakar Rimi, the governor of Kano, if you could remember vividly. He checkmated the government effectively and efficiently. Now, what we are trying to do, apart from our representative who we normally advise them, in this area, you need to do A, B, C, D. The party as a whole, under the leadership of IPACT, have also wrote a letter to the president requesting to see the president, to discuss with the president some of these issues. The party met with the vice president under the leadership of IPAC. We discussed some of these issues, and there's still an attempt to fix a meeting so that we'll discuss this. But look, things are getting a little bit messier. And we felt that, look, the freedom we have as a party is to express our concern in the most humble way, most decent way, most respectful way. And that's what we did. We didn't go outside the norms. And our thinking is that the government will appreciate the value that we are adding. We do not call for anarchy or violence anywhere. We do not call for people to come out because people are being killed and maimed to take laws into their hands. We will never do that. Otherwise, we will all pay a price for it. You have IDP camps everywhere in Nigeria today. We are not in a war. But the non-state actors engaging the states and the inability of the states to bring the non-state actors to their knees is close to impossible right now. We thought that the same background President Buhari came with. When he was campaigning, he said subsidy was a fraud when he was conducting presidential campaign. But he lived under that fraud as a president for 8 years. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in. I was at the Eagle Square when he mentioned that in the budget, the president have removed subsidy. And of course, later on, officially subsidy was removed. He took the silver bullet. Now, if he took the silver bullet and they gave an example how much the country can save. Now, what they have saved from the subsidy, they have transferred it to governors that have championed the weaponization of poverty in the state. You can't go to states. If you go to your state, the kind of pressure you will go is unprecedented. The cost you are receiving on your phone for simply people who are in the hospital or looking for food or challenges beyond them, something maybe 2,000 to 3,000, they can't afford it. This is the only country you have. Malaria of 2,000 will kill somebody. He cannot afford it. Government have not provided free malaria for the citizens. And we think we are normal and we should not talk because those in government feel that we will stop them from getting what they are getting. We will not stop them. It's left for those who will investigate, who load our treasury to do that. CBN declassification is massive in this country. Now, if the president wants to solve the problem, he should deal with what CBN have declassified so far. So many Nigerians beyond your thinking are involved in that scam. Go and check the scam in the NNPC. Sunusi Lamido Sunusi have said it. Was it wrong? It's right. How do you generate those statistics? Was it that we are incapable of securing technology that will solve the problem? If you go to NNPC, you will see a mast where they have a CCTV that showcases everywhere in the Niger Delta. And then there will be vandalization. Nothing will happen. You have the Navy, you have the Army, you have the mobile to secure our national assets. Yes, it's impossible. Now, the president that I know, and I had a deep conviction, he will do much, much better than the previous administration. When we see a gap coming up, it is our duty out of patriotism to tell the president that this is not right, this is not going to be helpful to you. Those who lack the capacity and the gut and the courage to say, Mr. President, this is wrong, they are his enemies. We are not his enemies. We did not gang up against him. We supported democracy to survive on that day of the election. An attempt was made for chairman to walk out. It did not succeed. Otherwise, maybe the election would have not been conclusive. But we said, no, democracy first. Whatever it is, we'll correct it because there's no perfect system anywhere in the world. America that we are talking today, Trump is still saying that Biden is not legitimately elected. So what is wrong when citizens say, look, correct the system for the overall national interest of everybody in Nigeria? It is not my way to sit here and be having a kind of worried and concern, and I cannot travel anywhere, feeling that I will be safe, I will be okay, even in Abuja here today. There are areas that I don't go to.
Mr. Okay, let me bring you back to what has happened since after the announcement of the coalition. I mentioned earlier of some of the parties that were part of your discussions and announcement that almost immediately decided to pull out of the coalition. What happened? Was it that there wasn't enough discussions, or that some of these people were not properly carried along from the word go? The PDP, for instance, is owned the coalition.
Yeah,
the NNPP, we understand because of the factionalization within the party at the moment.
There's factionalization in almost every party, but then, that's by the way. You know, the truth of the matter is that was the first meeting we had. And then after that kind of first meeting, you expect this type of reaction is natural. But the important thing is that by the time we hold our next meeting, we know the true parties and individuals who are concerned about the situation we found ourselves in. While we are meeting to make the president and the party in power to see cause to readdress some of the things they are doing. We're also meeting to represent the Nigerian people because we deal with them on a daily basis. Most of the time nowadays, when people get into government, it's like they isolate themselves from the realities on the street. We are on the street. national chairman is on the street. Members of ADC are on the street. We know what's happening. But most persons, once they're elected, whether they are at the State House or at the National Assembly or at the State Assembly, they start to isolate themselves as if they're not on the street. Otherwise, why will any National Assembly member be a party to buying one vehicle for 160 million naira under the condition Nigeria found themselves in? It's not appropriate. What kind of vehicles do we manufacture in Nigeria? What kind of vehicles the legislators in the UK and in United Arab Emirates, in the US, what kind of vehicles do they use? And so on. You know, our people, what we are doing, we want to present democracy in the way it should be. Otherwise, the whole world will be laughing at us. If these parties that came together didn't come together and start talking, the world will say, these people are not serious. So we must continue on the trajectory where we are going. Some people may deny us, and then a lot more will join. But I tell you something, there is this fear that the APC government, I must say, is trying very, very hard to create a one-party state. And a lot of persons in the APC are not happy about it. Some of them are even going to join this coalition if they continue on that trajectory. And so why should we be thinking, I mean...
Are there any facts to buttress that position or that fear,
I said the fear and some signals. And then I want to talk to you about some of the signals. You see, I am in politics, I'm also a businessman. Some of look at what's happening in our court system. Almost every court in the land, most lawyers, 80% of the lawyers, are now involved in political cases. Meanwhile, we have...
Is there a season?
Wait. Meanwhile, we have the businesses that are sustaining Nigeria. Most corporations have cases in court, and the court cannot hear it, even in 2 years, because they are listening to political cases. What does that do to the economy? It's undermining it. And we have a president in the... we have the president now who was part of the struggle from beginning. When we come up with all of these things that are happening, flying showing the red signals, we are supposing that he should be able to come boldly and call some of his party men to action, or even call for a political summit. You know, we're going to have an IPAC meeting soon, and we're going to tell the IPAC chairman to really talk with the government so that there is a political summit. And the political summit, we discuss some of these disturbing issues. Because if we don't, especially some of us with clear experience of the past, something could happen. About last week, the ECOWAS came together, and we're trying to come up with a protocol for democracy and political practice and so on and so forth. But the most important protocol is discipline by the politicians themselves. If there's no discipline, if there's no values in politics and so on, you find out that protocol, you cannot come up with it.
It's just as well that you have mentioned IPAC, for instance. Could this not have happened under IPAC?
No.
Why was it necessary to now have a different coalition?
No,
because IPAC is made up of all the political parties.
IPAC is Inter-Party Advisory Council.
Yes.
So the idea of IPAC, APC is part of IPAC, PDP is part of IPAC, people in government are part of IPAC, and so on. IPAC should act more like a regulatory agency to design the codes for party operations, for political party management, party members who are in government, how they should behave and not behave, the values, and so on and so forth.
Is it doing that effectively, in your estimation?
You can see that the IPAC, under the leadership of Eyabaji, has at least changed the direction that the IPAC was before. And by the time we finished the the centenary celebration and the political summit, you will see that all of those things will come on board because the leadership in place now appear really determined to bring all of that to bear. And by the time we get these things, the government must try not to suppress opposition. Allow people to talk. It's when people are talking and pointing out certain things that you also call your team to say, come, this thing they've said should be looked into. But if all of us keep quiet, because we are being sycophantic, looking for one contract or the other, looking for appointment, and so on, one day that comfort zone where everybody wants to cook into will sink. All of us, while the people are suffering, we think it's only the people who are suffering, both the suffering people and the people who think they are resting comfortably in government, it will sink everybody. And that's why what we are doing is necessary. But while we are doing it for government to see the way, we are doing it most importantly for the people and our country.
All right, Alhaji Gaban, let me raise the issue that was put out there by a group within your party that you say is made up of members that were expelled long ago. And their claim is that the coalition is part of a conspiracy to turn public opinion against the current administration.
In the first place,
and that it includes some political leaders, some private sector entities, some civil society groups, and even such other groups like trade unions
that
are ganging up
against. You don't need to go far. If you know the individual that signed that letter in the name of SDP, that I say is not a member of SDP, has been expelled. It's in court record he has been expelled. We have document we have expelled him. He was a member of Swagger. He's a member of APC as I'm talking to you. But these are elements. If you know him, you know his mischief, you will not even bother about it. There is no any group whatsoever. The only issue we had in SDP for years, court have settled it. There's no any other issue. We are absolutely intact. And if you go to INEC, all along, we've been having one single way of transaction with INEC, with the leadership that INEC has supervised our convention. And then the judgment were very clear that a political party is an association to which every member agreed to abide by its rules. If you cannot abide by the rules of that association, you are free to leave and go and join one or form one. That has been the judgment, even Supreme Court judgment. Now, I don't want us to elevate non-entities. That is the honest truth. Otherwise, we'll lose focus. Every good thing you are doing, somebody will try to destroy it. And if you look at the characters that are trying to destroy it, if you look at them, you look at their face, what value they are going to add, you know you are wasting your time by even trying to mention them or elevate them. That is the honest truth about it. In this country, we have a history. If we go by the history, we'll get things right. But if we go by mischief makers who don't see anything good in anybody except they themselves, and if you give them the opportunity to do anything, they cannot do it. They are destroyers. And they use every opportunity, every good foundation that has been laid for them to damage it. In their own thinking, government will look for them and patronize them. And in their own thinking, they will blackmail us that are advising the government that we are against the government. That is the characters you have all around. And again, there is no any strong party that doesn't have some internal rebellion or less briefcase political parties. Every operational party have disgruntled elements, everyone, including APC that is ruling today, which you are aware of. They have so many court cases, including PDP that have been infiltrated terribly today. So if you look at the whole scenarios of parties and agents that are being used within the party, you will not even bother about some of these characters. Go and look at their pedigree, search about their names. What have they done? What service have they rendered to the country? Have been part of building democracy in Nigeria, which you know. This AIT, God bless the soul of Chief Raymond Dekwesi, we fought together to third time. The turbulence we went through, how many of them faced that? How many challenges we face, and we challenged the government. We brought stability to government, not just government, or even previous government. So it's not like this is our first time of generating ideas or advice to the government. We are not cowards. I'm a product of progressive.
And I'm progressive in a way that it adds value. I'm not a retrogressive. I cannot be a retrogressive. My children, my family, everybody is in Nigeria. I'm not a foreigner by even 0%. I'm completely 100% here, and I believe in my country. I don't wish to live anywhere on earth except Nigeria, and I must add value to it.
So what is the long-term goal of this coalition? Is it, for instance, to take power in 2027?
Look, well, the parties are designed to campaign and win elections. Most of us, the parties here, have won the elections, either Senate, House of Reps, or State Assembly. We competed in the presidency, in the governorship. Recently, you know what we went through in Kogi State. We are still fighting it on. So powers, political parties, by design and by constitution of multi-party system, is to compete for offices. But competing is not madness. You compete in a decent way. And then you don't undermine the system. You don't undermine democracy. You strengthen it. Where you need to let go, you let go for the system to survive. And it's the reason why I've told you that collectively, IPAC as a body saved democracy on the day of the election, collectively. Because otherwise, we would have run into anarchy today. So those are not seeing what the level of sacrifice that have been made to stabilize democracy. Now that advice are being given, some people around I'm not blaming the president like I've said entirely, even though he said it boldly that the ball stopped at his own desk, which is a natural thing. But what we are saying, not just stopping, you must step on toes if you want to save the country. The country image has been battered internationally and domestically. The legitimacy of the government must be built up. And then you have parties that are willing to add value to you. We are willing to create conducive environment for investors to come in, for people to be engaged, to be employed, for viability of the business environment, socialization, integration. These are issues. Look at what is happening in the Southeast. Look at what is happening in the Northwest. These are homogeneous people. Then something fundamentally is wrong. Why should a homogeneous people kidnap themselves, kill themselves, maim themselves? Something fundamentally is wrong. Because if you look at the scenario of the Southeast and the Northwest, it's similar. Very homogeneous people in everything. But that is where the high level of insecurity is going on. And was it that we lack the capacity to contain it? Year in, year about, go and look at the budget of the defense. What happened?
Okay. Alhaji, before we go, just this last question. Since your announcement of this coalition, what kind of response have you gotten from the party in power? Has it been positive or negative?
You know, every government have good and bad people. But I can tell you, from the response that we got, 70% was very, very positive. Because those who analyze the issue we raise are happy about it. We are not vulgarous in the issue that we raise. It is a pure, genuine, patriotic advice. And the calls we receive from prominent Nigerians encouraging us to do it in a humble, decent, respectful way were overwhelming. And if you look at even the comments in the social media and what have you, they are all positive. Like I said, our intention is not to bring down the government. It takes a madman to think of bringing down the government because nobody knows the consequences. It takes a madman to ignite a war. You don't know how many people it will consume. So we are Democrats. And since we are Democrats, we are after peace, unity, tranquility of the country to solidify our economy, open the economic base, embrace the whole country as one family. I've advised the president a couple of times, don't go by partisanry in the formation of the government. You need a bipartisan system to build that legitimacy base, inclusiveness, because you have vast people in different fields of human endeavor that can add value. Nigeria have surplus people with intellectual base, with a lot of sophistication to add value to the government. If the government is looking at appointment based on partisanship, just APC, they will not get it right. Because the same mistake APC Buhari have done, and the whole country collapsed. Buhari inherited a collapsed system. Everything was collapsed. He took over. And we are trying to advise him, avoid the same system, the same policy. It's not a continuity. There are areas that you must depart from. Otherwise, the hangover of the former government will be roughed on you. I heard NSA trying to defend the government, saying that this is not the problem they have created. They inherited the problem. So they are admitting themselves that they inherited a problem. They are admitting that they inherited a collapsed system. Now, if they admitted that they inherited a collapsed system, what are they supposed to do? Is to look for capacity around that would add value to the nation. The nation belongs to all of us. We can't be part of pulling down the roof. It's not possible.
All right, Mr. Onwusu, well, given the situation that we have at hand at the moment, what efforts are you making, I mean the coalition is making, to get other political parties on board? For instance, the Labour Party has said it is not interested in any such coalition. The PDP that was part of the initial announcement seemed to be deterring. And there are other political parties. What you have talked about 13 or so that will come on board. And what efforts are you making to get them back on board?
Yeah, this is that we've already come up with the clear reasons why we're making what we're doing. And then media organizations like yours and co have called us, and we have explained clearly where we're toeing the path we're toeing. And the criticism you may be hearing will also come from, when we talk about the fear of people trying to form one-party system, it has to do with some actions we're seeing from the APC leaders, not the presidency. The APC leaders from different states. The APC, for instance, they have 21 governors, and then we all witnessed the elections that brought the other governors of PDP, NNPP, APGA into power. But these guys are moving around, even wanting to use whatever they can, including abusing all the institutions in the country, politicizing all the institutions in the country, to take away, to add to their 21. They have 21, PDP has 13, NNPP has 1, APGA has 1, Labour Party has 1, and the politicians within the APC are working, doing everything to snatch the ones that these other guys have. It's not right, and that's what our political summit will address. But once you are on the path of truth, and you can look power in the face and say and take the path that will suit the country and the people, you don't need too much to say about, because Nigerians are ready to go where the new Nigeria will come from. So we don't, from the way things are now, because when you talked about whether we are trying to do something to affect some expelled member of SDP was talking about that we're trying to diminish that's where the government is now. What is the public opinion as it is today? But these people around don't want to tell the government the truth. Okay. The public opinion as it is now is very, very bad.
All right.
So on. Therefore, for what we are doing, if they don't take the necessary step, the public will come out in support of where we're going.
Lastly, but if I can make just 1 minute,
we have to
1
go.
second.
Yes, just 1 second.
Just 1 second. We did not initiate the crisis of the judiciary. Look at the retired judges in their valedictory session where they talk about the judiciary. And then about the opposition, don't worry about it. This opposition, PDP is supposed to have led it. The secretary who came, was he coerced to come, or he was asked to come? So some of the voiceless non-entities, please don't worry about them. Okay. Support good things for this country.
Let's leave it at that. Alhaji Shehu Gaban is national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, and convener of the coalition. And he's been joined by another member of that coalition, Mr. Oke Nwosu, who is the national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Great pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that's our program for today. Please join us again when we bring you a fresh edition of People, Politics, and Power. Bye.